Hello and welcome back to the next Kasucast. I've been really busy with my new machine learning research as well as some Houdini and Unreal Engine 5 stuff. Also, I started getting into cinematography again, so I might start sharing some of my vlogs on YouTube. We'll see. Anyway, this cast is about sculpting a head from scratch in ZBrush. Later on, I'll also show some hair sculpting and NPR rendering within ZBrush as well. Before that, here are some progression screenshots. Sculpting portraits in particular is really difficult for me, and I don't get that many opportunities to simply practice the fundamentals like this. So, here we go. This is generally the standard blockout every artist does in ZBrush regarding a head. I ended up changing my sphere into a bust because heads and necks just look kind of strange in a vacuum. To do this, I mask off the bottom of the head, invert the mask, then scale it out like so. Then I pull out some rudimentary ears by masking the sides of the head, inverting the mask, and popping out the form. When that's all said and done, you can start actually putting in some primary details. Alright, now that I have some landmarks in, I'm going to use this feature in ZBrush, Preferences, Transpose Units. So what you can do is, if you're using your transpose tool, yeah, let's not use the gizmo, let's use the traditional, this thing. So when you drag this out, my first measurement will be to calibrate the bottom of the chin to the top of the head. So once you draw this out, you can go to Preferences, and you see up here in the top left corner it says 0.1309 units. You can change your calibration distance. I measured this on a Photoshop picture, and yeah, this is 11. It's probably not like how do I explain it? It's not like real world accurate, but more just relative to my Photoshop document. I put a ruler on it, like a ruler PNG, and then measured it. So yeah, this is now 11 units. And see, if I drag across now, it'll follow that unit length. So you see, this is from here to here, it's 6.59 units. Alright. So we established that bottom of the chin to top of the head is 11 units. Next is bottom of the chin to bottom of the nose. Oops. Bottom of the chin to bottom of the nose should be, well, I measured that to be 2.9. So about here. This will be the bottom of the nose, just etch that in. Sometimes instead of sculpting something here, you can use polypaint instead to just mark out where you want. This is what traditional sculptors use. Anyway, next measurement is bottom of the chin to bottom of the eyes. So let's go back. Bottom of the chin to bottom of the eyes, I measured that to be 4.7. So 4.7 here. Okay, that's too thick. Yeah, bottom of the eyes should be something like this, but yeah, not exactly. So here, we'll go to the horizontal measurements now. I measured that the let's see, the width of the head is 6.3 units. So is this 6.3? No. It's 7.1, which is it's too wide. So let's bring these in. So the zygomatic arch is too high. Yeah, let's make some of those changes first. On bottom of the nose here, so that means the ear's in like an okay place, maybe smaller. And the zygomatic arch comes out from here, like where the hole of the ear hole is. So, yeah, zygomatic, thinner brush. That cheekbone comes down like this. Now let's see. I'm thinking the top of the head needs to come down a little more, just eyeballing, not using any measurements right now. Oops. Alright, let's go back and measure once more. Width of the head. Should be, what did I say? 6.3, right? 6.4 right now. I'll go a little bit thinner. Bring in the ears. You don't see the start of the ear from the front of the head. Dynamesh. Okay, now this should be right. Or should be good enough. The neck should be a bit more forward like this. At the back of the head, you have like these protrusions where the trapezius grabs onto. Forgot what they're called. Also, the head should be wider. The skull should be wider, like up here. Okay, the masseter should be a little, like, inflated a little bit. I'm just using a standard brush. Okay. Let's evaluate once more. I feel like the eyes are still like too high up, but we'll see. Okay. Back to measuring again. So width of the head once more. Hold on. Yeah, 6.3, good enough. Or close enough, I would say. Okay, now let's evaluate the side of the face. It's not looking that great so far. So the eyes should be pretty far back, like this. But if you push it back like this, you don't really give the nose an area to breathe. So what I usually do is I mask this part where the nasal bone is, and then invert it, blur mask, and then drag the eyes back. It's kind of like a soft transform. So also the inside of the eye, the lacrimal gland, yeah, that is further in that. So you're beginning to get like kind of a face. So okay. Now, let's go back, look at my reference, reevaluate the face. Yeah, the cheekbone is too high. Fix that. Bottom of the nose is okay, that's where it should be. The chin, push something in like that. This should be narrower. Carve out more of the eye. This. Right now this is still like very much the blocking in landmarks. If it doesn't look like a face, it's fine. It's really not a big deal. Yeah, this part of the head's too wide. Push it in, pull it out, flatten it, trim dynamic brush. Zygomatic arch is still not. Oops. A little bit more pronounced. Yeah, the ear should be lower, but like I'm using two different references, so they don't really match up that well. Smooth it in. Okay, let's see. Side of the, I'll work on the side of the face for a little bit. Profile view. Okay. Yep. The nose should be like more out. Whoops. Cutting like this. Nasal labial fold right here. Nasal bone. Eyes need to be further back. It's okay. If it's okay if it's like too much. You can push and pull. No worries. Yep. Nose. Yeah, this was the chin area before. Now I want to do the mouth a little bit. Clay build up. For the lips. The chin protrudes a little bit, so yeah, I think the eyes have to be even further back, so this time I use the move instead of with the gizmo, yeah. So you got the brow ridge up here now, pretty pronounced, which is good, I guess. Then make sure the glabiolis is okay, decently done here. Okay, I'll widen this out a bit more. Alright, back to the reference again. So if I look at this, the chin's a bit too wide. I want to narrow that in. And is the cheekbone too high still? Zygomatic arch. Okay, what about the brow? The brow for sure seems a little high to me. Pull that down. Okay, do we start working on the nose or not? Make this deeper for the eye socket. Yeah, there should be like this kind of like C shape up here, like enclosing the eyes. Pretty important. Yeah, there's some like orbital fat pad right there. Yeah, the eye sockets still like feel like too small for me, but until you add some eyes, you don't really know what you're dealing with, so won't worry about that yet. Okay, pull up the jaw a little. I want that really sharp jawline. I think it looks quite nice on the female. So here we are after a few hours of sculpting, and yeah, originally the topology of the mesh was okay, but then after I projected my Dynamesh onto a new ZBrush mesh and sculpted on it, the topology became quite poor, so I had to do another ZBrush using ZBrush guides, and I'll show that here. And after doing that, I got a much cleaner resolution or topology to work with, which is shown here. This looks like pretty decent for a ZBrush. And yeah, just fixing this eye a little bit more. It's kind of, the corners of the eye are bothering me a little still. Just trying to double check again with my reference. Should maybe bring it in more. Maybe pop it out a little bit as well. Like so. Yeah, I think that's good. And maybe. Okay, and I guess I'll show a little bit of a turntable now, just to see where we're at. So movie, turntable. Looks okay to me so far. And next, I think I'll add some eyebrows and maybe eyelashes and some hair as well. Okay, now it's time to put in some tentative hair. And to do so, you have to first mask out a scalp. So, just trying to adjudicate where the hairline is. Doesn't have to be perfect, and the hairline usually comes down like to the ear. That. Then hip. I'm going to turn on dynamic again for the mask. Much better. And the scalp is usually ends down here. Don't really want to get the ear, but it's okay. I'm going to be dynameshing this anyway, so it's fine. So now I masked out a scalp for now, very tentative. And then what I'm going to do is go over to geometry. Okay, so extract is in the subtool here. If you press extract, it'll give you a preliminary view. Currently, this is too thick for me. That's a little too thin. Okay, that looks much better. And now, except for that part, now I'll be building some so wherever I want the hair to go, if that makes sense. So if I want a strand like coming out in front, I'll take this and then I'll go with an extract again. We're gonna start adding some hair strands. So I think I have a brush. It's by Danny Mac 3D. He has a tutorial on his channel as well on how to use this brush, but once I can find it, I don't use it often. Oh, okay, that's fine. So here we go. Multi-brush 2, multi-brush lower poly, thick strand, thin strands. Okay, what does this look like? Oh yeah, that is pretty thick. Okay, and go to brush, or maybe stroke, yeah. Curve modifiers, size. Oh, it's already, I think it's already preset. Yeah. So draw out the stroke. I'm going to change the size. This is pretty thick. yeah, okay. It's good for me. First strand. So the purpose of this is to have like a placeholder. And let's see what it looks like if I divide it. Actually, I can split unmasked points. This is its own subtool now. If I divide it like that, see, it has this stylized effect. And then if I hide the original mesh, you can see what we're getting. So something like that. Alright, so the hair is more or less finished. It's looks kind of like that. I'm going to map out some eyebrows right now. It'll be very simple. I'll hide the hair and just use my mask pen to select where I think the eyebrows should be. Something like that. And I'm going to extract them. So, extract. Let's see how that looks on the side. Sure, why not? Accept. So I'm very done. Hold on. I'm going to dynamesh the newly created eyebrows. Let's see. They might be too high up. She kind of has like a bewildered look. Maybe. I mean, it looks okay to me. Okay, I think I'm going to give these some subdivisions. Zero measure. Oh wow. Why are these so dense? Sure, why not? Then Marion Wood, just to make sure. Considering pushing back the middle right here where the glabella is, it seems a little far out for me. Or maybe it's not. Perhaps not, it's just the eyebrows are not right. Or not flush, I mean. Yeah, these are just some rudimentary eyebrows. Now we have hair. Let's see, skin shade. I'm going to put on some hair color here. Color. Not sure what color. I guess I'll turn on polypaint just to see what it's all about. Actually, I kind of like this color for the the eyebrows. So I'll give that for the object. What about the hair? What am I thinking here? Hair usually follows the color. Does that look weird or not? See what it looks like with shadows. Yeah, I guess preliminary pass. Alright, lastly, if you want to see how the model looks or your sculpt looks once you're finished, you can either bring it into like a 3D package and render there, or sometimes I'll play with the default render sets here. So open up Lightbox, comma, on the keyboard, render set, how about let's go radial overlay, and then once that's on, you can go up here, click BPR, see how it looks. Yeah, and then if you have polypaint, which I do have polypaint, turn on the polypaint, and I'll go to skin shade, maybe. Yeah, skin shade looks good. You can see what it looks like right now, which is pretty cool. And so once you've settled on a render set that you like, just go over to BPR and click on it. Find your camera angle you think is decent. BPR. And yeah, there you go.